Hello everyone, welcome to the section of paper presentation for AsiaTEFL 2025 conference. My presentation is entitled Exploring the Knowledge Base of English for Medical Purposes EMP Teachers, Implications of a Case Study in China. My name is Dr. Yanming Wu from the Department of Foreign Languages, Guangzhou Medical University. My presentation will be divided into 4 parts: introduction of the research, then comes analytic frameworks of the research. Third, analysis of the typical examples of EMP textbooks and the competency requirements for EMP teachers. The last part will be discussion. So I will begin with a brief introduction of the research. In recent years, ESP, that is English for Specific Purposes teaching, has gained traction worldwide, including in China. However, a review of domestic and international literature found that there's a lack of research on the development of ESP teachers. Among ESP teachers, English for Medical Purposes EMP instructors face particular challenges. As most of the EMP teachers in China have disciplinary background in humanities, while biomedicine is usually considered a discipline of science, which makes EMP difficult for teachers to master, requiring more learning from teachers. To address this issue, this case study explores an important aspect of EMP teacher development, namely the knowledge base of EMP teachers, with the hope to explicate the professionalism of EMP and EMP teachers and promote the development of EMP as a professional field in China. The presentation will report on a part of the study finding regarding what competences or knowledge teachers need to be equipped with to practice EMP in China. One way to examine this is through analyzing typical examples of EMP textbooks used in medical universities in China and observing how EMP teachers operationalize the textbook contents by adapting the length of the language content continuum and interconnected knowledge for integration analytic tool in the research. So my first analytic framework is the types of EMP course contents offered in universities in China. Please note that there's no specific curriculum guideline regarding EMP at the national level in China. So these types of EMP courses contents classification are according to Sun's observation, which would be an expert observation. So the course contents include these multiple areas. And the second framework is the language content continuum, which was initiated by Matt and later developed by several researchers such as Iray and Lin. And this continuum conceptualized programs involving language and content along a continuum from language-driven to content-driven, such as programs of EAP, CBI, ESP, and then on the content-driven end, EMI. And in the last 20 years or so, CLIO has emerged as a new approach to balance language and content. CLIO refers to content and language integrated learning, which according to Lin will require teachers to have both academic language awareness and academic content awareness. Specifically, CLIO refers to an approach that will give due attention to both language and content. Although this term emerged in Europe, it has become a term that has been widely adopted in an international context as an umbrella term. For some researchers, they argue that it could be an umbrella term to cover different variants, including ESP, EAP, CBI, immersion, or EMI. In China, adoption and research of CLIO, or called Content Language Integration, has been emerging, but at university level, mainly in programs for English majors, such as in courses like American Society and Culture. And the third framework I will adapt is the Interconnected Knowledge for Integration, IKI Analytic 2. This is a tool developed by Camerata and Camanasha. They aim to use this tool to investigate the knowledge base of immersion teachers as it relates to the pedagogical issue of integrating content and language. But I think it is applicable to contexts involving balancing content and language. In this tool, they conceptualize three kinds of knowledge, including conceptual knowledge and expertise in the target discipline, understanding of the nature of language, LA, and understanding of the nature of literacy, LI, and intersecting these three kinds of knowledge will be three areas: discipline and language connection, discipline and literacy connection, and literacy and language connection. So the specific analysis of typical examples of EMP textbooks, I will pick 4 examples in the following. So for the first example, medical English terminology. This is typically at the vocabulary level organized by human body systems and or disciplinary classifications such as surgery and also word formation rules. So what you can see here is an example from the textbook Medical English Reading of the medical terminology related to the reproductive system to teach particularly roots and surfaces knowledge that teachers are supposed to teach the students to master medical terminology. For this kind of course contents, the competency demands for EMP teachers will include mainly language knowledge, including morphology and phonetics. Some medical knowledge is also helpful, and this will be aided by the teacher's L1 Chinese translations. So in analyzing this through the IKI, this could be called in the area of discipline and language connection at the intersection between content knowledge and language knowledge, but with language knowledge play a more primary role for EMP teachers to operationalize the content. And the second example will be English for clinical medicine. This type of contents are typically at the text level, organized by human body systems. This is an example excerpt from the textbook Medical English Reading involving introduction of the urinary system, specifically urine formation. And for this kind of course contents, the competency demands for EMP teachers will include language knowledge, including lexical grammar, scientific discourse, and text type structure. Like here, it is a sequential causal explanation. And also, basic medical knowledge or thematic patterns will be much helpful if the teachers are equipped with this kind of knowledge, because in this complex text, it involves several biomedical concepts, and to facilitate student learning, EMP teachers is better to know about the basic medical knowledge so as to highlight and visualize the major terms and their relations and help students match the medical knowledge they already learned in L1 in Chinese. So then graphic organizers can be produced along with a flowchart to clearly scaffold the complex concepts along with the process description. So for IKI analysis, this kind of content lies in discipline and language connection at the intersection between content knowledge and language knowledge. Particularly, the content knowledge will play primary role in preparing the teachers to scaffold the students. And this would require EMP teachers to do more learning, such as consulting the textbooks in Chinese and flowcharts in English textbooks and supply them along with the textbook text. The third example I will call academic reading for medical English combined with medical English for humanistic purposes. A representative textbook is academic English for medicine, this one. I say it is a combination because in looking at the table of contents of this textbook, it covers a wide range of topics, actually relates to the types of EMP contents for social medicine, medical humanities, and narrative medicine, such as talking about a doctor's life, about diseases, about healthy living, doctor-patient relationship, and principles of biomedical ethics. So we could do two layers of IKI analysis for this textbook. One is on the content level. It lies in the discipline and language connection, intersecting between content knowledge and language knowledge. Here, the content knowledge of the medical field is related to the humanistic side and aspects of the medical profession. And then the second layer of an IKI analysis will involve the nature of the text selected for this content, as they are mainly academic texts from either journals or writings by doctors. And these kind of contents actually also intersect between content knowledge and academic literacy knowledge. I will use the example healthy living in this textbook to illustrate. So for the text healthy living in teaching, teachers could highlight the academic language resources in the text to teach students the steps of writing a persuasive essay, such as the step 1, outline the problem. Second, propose a solution, and then the conclusion. And example 4 is academic writing for medical English. So in this kind of course contents, the focus is to teach students how to write or prepare them to write journal articles for publication or academic purposes in the medical field. So this kind of course contents lie in discipline and literacy connection, intersecting between content knowledge and academic literacy knowledge. And particularly, the academic literacy knowledge play a primary role as in the field of EAP teaching. Examples would be like applying the IMRD model or doing research article case analysis. While medical content will be involved, but the EMP teachers will mainly focus on genre structures, moves, and academic language resources, and won't explain the conceptual knowledge involved in the research article. So for discussion, I have several points to mention. After the analysis of concrete examples of textbook contents, this study will suggest classifying the types of EMP course contents in China into four areas. One is basic language proficiency for medical English, such as course contents like medical English terminology, listening and speaking for medical English, and translation for medical English. And the second area will be academic English for medicine, such as academic reading, academic writing, or English for communication in international conference in medicine. And the third area is medical English for humanistic purposes, such as for social medicine, medical humanities, and narrative medicine. And the fourth area would be English for basic medical knowledge, such as English for clinical medicine, for nursing, and for traditional Chinese medicine. In such a clarification, we could see that medicine actually, it reminds us because it has a long tradition of understanding medicine actually as a uniquely integrated discipline where science and humanities coexist and interact constantly. Just by looking at these course content topics classification, we can see that. So then the inspiration for me is to map EMP course content on a continuum by adapting the language content continuum to temporarily, I will put it as the discipline association continuum. The idea is that it seems that it will be more helpful to not to draw a dichotomy between language and content, but instead, if we map the types of EMP course contents in China in conceptualization as domains with stronger associations with arts and humanities traditions on the one end, and domains with stronger associations with science traditions on the other, then we could see, for example, basic language proficiency for medical English will lean on the end with stronger association with arts and humanities traditions. And then for academic English for medicine, probably around the middle, towards the middle, but lean towards the arts and humanities traditions. And then for medical English for humanistic purposes, it involves important areas of the medical education, but the humanistic contents there actually has a closer linkage or similarities with arts and humanities traditions, which the AMP teachers are trained in. And then the fourth, English for basic medical knowledge, will be domains with stronger associations with science traditions. Seeing these contents in this way, and also that the EMP teachers will need to teach these various contents at different universities or along different grades of students, then we could say that the EMP teachers in China are arguably actually clear teachers integrating content and language, covering a spectrum of course contents and also require a spectrum of competences along the continuum between arts and humanities traditions and science traditions. So both academic language awareness and academic content awareness are required to do the job well. So finally, my conclusion. The presentation reported on the part of the study finding regarding what competences, knowledge teachers need to be equipped with to practice EMP in China. One way to examine this is through analyzing textbooks and also observing how teachers operationalize the textbook contents by adapting the length of language content continuum to discipline association continuum, and then also applying the interconnected knowledge for integration analytic too. The findings reveal that in many cases, to meet the demands of the typical EMP textbooks used in China, EMP teachers need to possess a good integration of discipline, literacy, and language knowledge, suggesting that the EMP field in China is arguably a field of clue. Recognizing this will raise the professional status of EMP teachers, and more interdisciplinary professional training and or co-teaching of EMP teachers with medical teachers need to be promoted for EMP teachers in China. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you for your listening. If you have any questions or further comments, please don't hesitate to contact me via this email. Thank you.